Hello, faculty members and family member of Prof.E. Venkata garu, and my dear research scholars, student friends, and other distinguished guests. Good afternoon to all of you. So, on behalf of Andhra University Administration, I, Professor G. Girija Shankar, Principal AU College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, welcoming you all for the Endowment Lecture, Professor E. Venkata garu Endowment Lecture on Planet and Human Well-Being through Sustainable Chemical Approaches by Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, former Secretary DST Government of India. So on this occasion, so I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor G.P. Rajshekhar garu, today's President of the function. I request Vice Chancellor garu to come on to the dais. Please. I also request today's speaker, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar garu, former Secretary, DST Government of India, also request to onto the dais. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor garu to conduct the proceedings.
So very good afternoon, everyone. So it's my privilege to preside over this particular program. I'm very happy to witness this on this occasion. The occasion is Endowment Lecture in honor of Professor E. Venkatrao, who had extended his endless services to this university, to this department, and contributed significantly to the development of this field. And to deliver the endowment lecture, we are equally privileged to host Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. We are very honored, Dr. Chandrasekhar, that you have kindly accepted and to be here. So I take a couple of minutes to brief about the developments that the Andhra University is witnessing, in particular, since we have entered the centenary year. So 26th April 2025, we kickstarted the curtain raiser of the centenary celebrations. So then it took some time for us to chalk out various programs. And we are very happy to tell you that just yesterday we have given a 3-month calendar of various activities because people are eagerly waiting Satabd Utsavalu. That means they're expecting, I was wondering whether they're expecting some dance and disco and drama on campus as Satabd Utsavam. But needless to mention, our institutions, our Utsavas are various academic events. So for coming 3 months, we have worked out. We have also beyond, but we thought phase wise we will release. And even in these 3 months, whatever we declared, that is not the one. In between, we will be squeezing in many activities. So I'm very happy that today we are kickstarting with that. So morning we had one endowment lecture this morning at law school, and it's second one today. So we are kickstarting our actual Utsavas of Satabdi of Andhra University, Andhra Viswakala Parishad. So in these coming 3 months, we have various activities, conferences, workshops, FDPs. So I urge all the students to make use of these facilities and take active part. So coming to this occasion, We humbly thank the family members of Professor E. Venkata Garu, who have come forward and then instituted this endowment lecture. So these are the occasions we can commemorate and recall the contributions, their services, and honor them. So it's a great occasion. And Andhra University has, we have listed, we have about 30 endowment lectures. So then I was thrilled. So we can schedule entire Satabdi up to 26th April 2026, where on Monday we'll be celebrating 100th Foundation Day. So I think these endowment lectures also will be handy. We are trying our best to bring distinguished speakers, and we are very honored that you have accepted and you are going to deliver this particular talk, planet and human well-being through sustainable chemical approaches, which is also very needy from the topic itself. So I'm very happy that this particular talk is chosen for this. Okay. So let us proceed. So before we proceed, may I request Dr. Chandrasekhar Garu and principal and other colleagues to join for lighting the lamp and garlanding. Okay, please. So now may I request singers to come and do the prayer song. Please stand. Yes.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलत्रायणे गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्यप्रवराय गुरवे गुणगुरवे गुरुदैत्यकलक्षेत्रे गुरुधर्मसदाराध्याय गुरुपुत्र परित्रात्रे गुरुमागण्डकण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय गन्धमत्ताय गोजयव्रताय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि
So I think I have a trust. I have a trust gathering. So I assuming. So may I request Professor Rajan Prasad to come and then a brief about the process.
Esteemed Vice Chancellor, sir, and President of this afternoon Endowment lecture, Professor G.P. Rajasekhar, sir, a very distinguished scientist, former Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, Madam Dr. E. Kameshwari, wife of Professor E. Venkatarao garu, Professor D. Venkatarao garu, my guru, faculty members, invited persons from different departments, research scholars, and student friends. A very good afternoon to you all. I deem it as both as a privilege and an honor to read into some of the rich academic and scientific contributions of my mentor and respected guru, late Professor Erragontra Venkatarao garu. Professor Venkatarao garu, late Professor Venkatarao garu, born on 1st July 1931, completed his studies in Andhra University during the years 1950 to 59. He was one of the founder members of the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences at Andhra University, Visakhapatnam, and instrumental in the growth of the institution by way of his rich contributions over a period of 4 decades in different capacities from 1953 to 91. He visited UK on a Commonwealth scholarship and worked under Professor Sir James Badley, FRS, in Newcastle University, which led to the award of PhD degree in bioorganic chemistry in 1964 on the topic Studies on the capsular polysaccharides of pneumococcus type 10A, which work won him K.N. Welsh Memorial Prize. And this work also formed part of 23-valent pneumococcal vaccine, Pneumovax 23, which we are very proud of, which is official to Indian Pharmacopoeia 2007. Earlier to this significant contribution, Professor Rao's DSc work at Andhra University on Thivitia nerifolia resulted in the discovery of a new clinically useful cardiotonic glycoside, perovskite, the first modern drug discovery in India, acclaimed by the international scientific community. This drug developed for therapeutic use by Messrs. E. Merck and manufactured by an Italian pharma company, Science, was listed in the Merck Index and Martindale, the extra pharmacopoeia. Several other compounds his group isolated and worked on have found a place in the Merck Index. Professor Rao worked in various capacities before his appointment as professor in pharmaceutical chemistry 1975 to 91 and has immensely contributed to the achievements of the department in this area. As the head of the department from 1985 to 88, Professor Rao was responsible for shaping the department as one of the most prestigious pharmaceutical institutions in India. His research in the area of pharmaceutical chemistry, primarily in natural products and pharmaceutical analysis, resulted in 165 publications in journals of national and international repute, 5 patents, 17 PhD theses, and 46 M.Pharm dissertations. Professor Rao and his co-workers have made significant contribution to the medicinal chemistry of a number of natural products, particularly cardiac glycosides, sulfated polysaccharides of green seaweeds, lignans and novel flavonoids, besides development of sensitive spectrophotometric and HPLC methods for the estimation of a number of drugs in their dosage forms of different pharmacological categories. Professor Rao has rendered human service to the pharmacy profession through his association with many organizations like Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Royal Society of Chemistry, Andhra Pradesh Academy of Sciences, Union Public Service Commission, CSIR, UGC, and NIPER. He was a member of the Pharmacy Council of India and president of the Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India. Professor Rao had the distinction of being invited to a corporate advisory of Natco Pharma, Hyderabad. Within a short period, he had set up a natural products laboratory and could develop process technology for selected natural products and organic intermediates used in the manufacture of bulk drugs. His research work involved innovative studies on the curcuminoids of turmeric and a bone fracture healing herbal extract. Professor Rao received several awards and honors that include Professor G.P. Srivastava Memorial Award 1989, Professor Andhra Pradesh State Government Best Teacher Award 1990, Professor M.L. Khurana Memorial Lecture Award 91, IPA Fellowship Award 1997, APTI Lifetime Achievement Award 2003, IRF Lifetime Achievement Award 2012, and Andhra Pradesh Academy of Sciences Lifetime Achievement Award 2017. Professor Rao is a serious scientific researcher till his last breath, used to spend long hours on his computer at home and used to interact with me on matters of scientific and personal interest. Professor Rao contributed immensely and he is survived by his wife, Dr. Kameswari, and son Ravichandra, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. As my mentor and philosopher, Professor Rao is a great source of inspiration to everybody. Many of the research students earlier worked on his group, and Professor Rao unfortunately passed away on August 19th, 2020 in Visakhapatnam due to age-related problems after a brief period of illness. And I believe this lecture being delivered by a great scientist will be a rich tribute to Professor Arlavand Garu, who worked a lot on the natural products. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
So thanks to Professor Rajasthapa for elaborate introduction about Professor Venkata and his contributions. I'm sure this is an inspiration for youngsters. How well from this platform, very platform, he made such significant contributions. which led to various innovations and developments. And, you should get inspired not just by literature. Sometimes hearing these things will trigger, and then you will go back and then try to see those works. Okay, so once again, we should take this opportunity to thank the family of Professor Venkata for instituting this lecture. So now it's my privilege to invite Professor Girija Sastry, Faculty Chairperson, Pharmaceutical Sciences, to introduce today's speaker, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar. Please.
It's my immense pleasure to say a few words about Dr. S. Chandrasekhar Garu. Dr. S. Chandrasekhar Garu has made significant contributions in diverse, especially in total synthesis of biology. And the development of PEG as a novel solvent medium created by totally different platform for practitioners of deep chemistry, development of new methodologies for single bond C bond formation reactions involving organic catalysis and organometallic reagents is highly cited. He has 320 publications, 22 patents with over 10,000 citations. 8 already obtained their PhD award under his guidance, and 10 students are currently pursuing their research work. He has received honorarium doctorates from JNTU Hyderabad, SRM University, Vijayawada, and University of Rennes, France. His team was awarded CSIR Technology Award 2021 for the process for vaccine adjuvant in Covaxin in 2020, for the process of Favipiravir, and 2014 for the process of misoprostol in 2014. He received the Golden Jubilee Commemoration Medal Chemical Sciences in 2020 from INSA and was awarded A.V. Ramarao Chair in 2020. He has been honored by Chemical Research Society of India by CRSS Silver Medal for his extensive and outstanding contributions to research in chemistry. He has selected for AstraZeneca Research Endowment Award for the year 2019. He is a recipient of Infosys Prize 2014 for Physical Sciences and C.N. Rao National Prize in Chemical Research 2012 and Astra C.N.R. Rao Award for Excellence in Material and Chemistry in 2017, Goyle Prize in Chemical Sciences 2017, Vasvik Award 2018 for Chemical Sciences and Technology. He received C.V. Raman Birth Century Award for 2018. He is a recipient of National Academy of Sciences Reliance Platinum Jubilee Award in Physical Sciences for work on innovations in applied research with fundamental approach. He has been awarded the Ranbaxy Research Award in Pharmaceutical Sciences 2009 for his contributions to total synthesis of natural products and medicinal chemistry. He is a fellow of Indian Academy of Sciences, Indian National Science Academy, and National Academy of Sciences. And he obtained his bachelor's and master's and PhD degree from Osmania University, while he worked his PhD thesis was being carried out in IICT as a total synthesis of cyclosporine. He was Alexander von Humboldt Fellow at Göttingen and postdoctoral fellow at the University of Texas. He worked as a director at CSIR IICT, the most prestigious research institute in India. He also served as a secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I'm sure you have reached his laurels. So once again, we are really privileged that Dr. Chandrasekhar is here. Not only academically, he had shown his contributions. Administrative front also, he had contributed a lot, serving as a secretary DST with his vision to the country, and he has been actually mentoring various scientific organizations as of today. So it's again our honor and privilege. So may I propose a small felicitation before the talk. It's convenience of the vice chancellor. Sorry. Yeah, please join other colleagues. Please. And thank you. Thank you very much. So now may I request Dr. S. Chandrasekhar to deliver the Prof.E.Venkata Endowment lecture. Thank you. Color mic. Because I have to complete. Don't be obligated. Can you hear me? Respected Vice Chancellor, Madam Venkata, Principal of the College of Pharmacy, dear students, it's an honor and privilege to be delivering lecture. And what I'll try to do in the next 45 minutes, hopefully. So in the next 45 minutes, to take you through a journey which all of us will go through or have gone through. And I've chosen the title, especially keeping in mind the young students in the audience, to convey to you how bad your ancestors were. If I call ancestors, your parents and grandparents, great grandparents. The way we have consumed the planet in the last 100 years. So you don't require to blame beyond 3 generations, because every generation is about 30 years. So you can blame the last 3 generations who have used this planet, which we call the Mother Earth or the Mother Planet, to the advantage of Homo sapiens. And many critics call Homo sapiens, while the definition of Homo sapiens is supposed to be a gentleman definition of the Homo sapien, but has taken the planet for a ride, if you want to call it, and consumed so much of material available on the planet, which 10,000 years human race did not consume. So imagine how aggressive the last 3 generations were, and we are going to be more aggressive as time progresses. So the cartoon on the slide shows you how the mother planet is on a ventilator in a hospital, and other planets have come to wish get well soon. So it shows the seriousness at which our planet is currently suffering. We all know, we all talk of global warming, we as chemists talk of greenhouse gases, and then you look back and see who has created these greenhouse gases. Human beings, the Homo sapiens. So what is that we all should do, at least from now on, that this carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases emissions don't increase beyond certain level? And again, even a high school kid today, when you conduct a quiz competition on environmental science, the first question they ask is, if the temperature of the planet increases by 1.5 degrees centigrade, what will happen? And then the kid will answer you, what is it? You don't require to be a MSc or a PhD or a professor or a vice chancellor or a secretary of government. You have to know that. So why that young kid also knows the problem? Because there's a problem. So now whether we all can collectively make a decision today and make a decision that we are not going to further exploit this planet beyond what we need. And we also study in our high schools and colleges
that this planet has everything for a needy person, but there's not enough for a greedy person. Okay. Now coming back to why the planet is getting warmer and why the carbon dioxide gases are increasing is because of the automation of the planet. Now we all depend on automation. From the new pharmacy building to the old pharmacy building, I used a Toyota Crista diesel car. It produces enough carbon dioxide and enough nitric oxide. And it also comes with a urea, because if you are using a diesel car which has to be standard with Euro 6 norms, you also use AdBlue solution to these vehicles. And AdBlue is nothing but the farmer's feed urea, which is available to a farmer at a subsidized price. And we also use urea to minimize the pollution. Is it required to use transport so much when we all have proper health and we can walk? So starting from a short distance of 10 meters, we can't walk is one generation. Now our great grandparents, they walked hundreds and thousands of miles by walk. But do you want to go back to 200 years ago? I don't preach you that you go back, but how do we optimize the resources? So as we progress, to also commemorate Prof.E.Venkata, we touch upon the health sciences, but we also will touch on how we as good citizens really will be called Homo sapiens. Okay, so this would be my talk. And just to convey to all of you, like the planet is divided into various countries. And again, if you go back into the human history of 10,000 years, I'm not telling you go back to 3 million years or 5 million years. Even 10,000 years ago, there were no countries, there were no partitions. No passport was required for going from one country to the other country. Similarly, science was one unified subject. I hope there's no smoky picture, otherwise. So science also, while it began as one unified science, we over a period of time have divided the time. Yeah. So no, that's okay. So now science also has been fragmented into physics and chemistry and botany and zoology. Within chemistry, you call yourself an organic chemist, inorganic chemist, physical chemist. Within organic chemist, again, you say that I'm a carbon chemist, I'm a synthetic chemist, I'm a natural product chemist. So we have fragmented and we forgot the basic principles of science. At some point of time, I would like to tell you, why do we science? Why all of us should practice science? When no animal practices science and they don't spoil the planet, but why should we practice science? We thought we practice science to protect the planet, but we practice science for the comfort of all of us. So, what is the comfort level? So, that's all we should debate as we progress every day. Can you hear me seriously?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Very slow. So now we all will debate, is science a boon or a bane? Now we just spoke that science is supposed to be for the well-being of the Homo sapiens, but not at the cost of planet, not at the cost of other living beings on this planet. So if Homo sapiens is selfless and he doesn't want to spoil the planet, we will say that science has to create a lot of boon, but is also creating bane. So what are the boons and what are the banes? If you look at our quality of life has gone up very good. We live longer, we are more comfortable, we can watch a movie on a multiplex, or we can use aeroplane to go anywhere in the planet. So a lot of things happen as the quality of life goes up. Our life expectancy has gone up tremendously high. We as Homo sapiens, even in the early 1900, 1920, 1930, we were living for 40 years, 45 years, so the age expectancy of all of us. Either people were dying of infections, like till penicillin was discovered, we were dying of it. simple infection, lot of viruses like chickenpox and smallpox and all poxes. So science has given us higher life expectancy. I also will take you through whether we are going to die at 80 or 90 or we go beyond 100. So we also will debate on whether we will live longer. And if we live longer, is it a boon for the planet or a bane for the planet? So this is something we need to debate ourselves. Of course, improved source of materials, plastics, then of course better therapeutics as we discussed, higher crop and livestock yields, availability of cure for human, plant, and animal. Because we call it zoonotic, okay? Not that human is alone. I mean, today we also discovered drugs for animals, the veterinary doctors. We also cure plant diseases. We kill insects to make the plant live longer. So similarly, while doing all this, we also change the environment. That's what we increase the carbon dioxide ratios. We have damaged the ozone layer. Now we all talk of ozone layer is gone. The ultraviolet radiation is coming. The number of cancers are increasing. Today, you knock the door of any family, you will see one member in the family suffering from cancer. Similarly, depletion of natural resources, industrial activity has gone up very high, which is causing the global warming, that was population growth, urbanization, and many other problems. Now, if science has to create only the boon and not the pain, so what are the responsibilities we all should share? Okay. So today, this cartoon, what we shown to all of you, tell you it has 4 compartments. And those who look at the political slogans in India, which is roti, kapda, or makan. So you can see roti, this is not just roti, it's a 5-star meal. Kapda, which is not just a cloth what to wear, but suits and all that. Makan, of course, is not just a small house, but a nice European house. But there's a 4th component which we built besides roti, kapda, or makan is health. Today, we respect our tributes to Venkata Garu for the contributions she has made for healthcare. Similarly, this Department of Pharmaceutical just gone. So this has become almost essential component. While we talk of roti, kapda, makan are essential, this has become as essential as these 3 components. Maybe you contribute in this box, but there are some scientists who may contribute in this box, and there are some people who may contribute here and not may contribute here. So just to see what are the contributions which made all these happen and which made us all as comfortable. Okay. So when we look at, say, for example, our first objective is the roti. Okay. So, and kapda and makan. Okay. So first let us take how our materials have come into the planet. If you look at the entire petroleum industry and oil and natural gases, we all know the geopolitical challenges every day morning. We see a noisy statement from Mr. Trump. Whether you want to call him Mr. Trump, I don't know. Mr. is supposed to be given to respected people. So if Mr. Trump gives every day one statement on the oil and natural gases, where to buy and at what cost someone should buy and all that, but we as chemists should know how the entire chemical industry is built. If natural gases or the oil industry is not there, there is no chemistry. Of course, other than periodic table where you have got inorganic elements and elementary chemistry and catalysis will come in. But all the life sciences, which we call organic chemistry and life sciences, originate from this petroleum sector. What happens is when you get the crude oil from the nature, you take and distill and distill and distill and distill. Incidentally, when we talk of sustainability and environmental consciousness, this is the most conscious industry across all industrial sectors. The waste produced in a petroleum industry is less than 1%. Whereas you are sitting in a pharmaceutical college or a university, the waste produced per kilo of a pharmaceutical product is 100 kilos. If you are making 1 kilo of paracetamol, in example, you make 100 kilos of waste. If you make 1 kilo of Taxol or 1 kilo of very complex drug, you will make 500 kilos of the waste. Interestingly, agriculture industry is more smarter than pharmaceutical industry. Agro industry produces only 20 kilos per 1 kilo of the product. So now what is the sustainability and green we as pharmaceutical scientists are talking? So can we go back and revisit all the sciences we practice and see that pharmaceutical sciences also will produce less than 1% of the side product or the byproduct or the waste? I think that should be the objective of the chemistry and pharmaceutical sciences and life science. So if you look at it, crude oil will give you olefins and aromatics, which we all know. Then within the olefins, we all studied that ethylene, propylene, and butene, butadiene. So all this will give you various electronic chemicals, polymers. For example, we know that styrene will give you a polystyrene. Similarly, chlorovinyl benzene will give you vinyl benzene. So the polymers will come out of this. The fiber, textile, what we are talking of will come from there. And of course, detergent, fertilizers, paint, pharmaceutical. If this petroleum industry byproducts are not there, global warming will not happen. Should we take that way? Or we clean the system in such a way that we use all these materials, the benefit of the human being's well-being, but also planet's well-being. Then that's what we need to talk. So if you look at the food industry, how the whole food evolution has happened, we talk of roti. So if you look at roti come from, if you look at traditionally 50,000 years ago, how the agriculture was happening and how hunters and gatherers were able to kill either the animals to eat hunt or gatherers who gather whatever is falling out of a tree and collect and eat, and how the collective farming began. So if you look at the entire history of agriculture, it was most organic agriculture, but because the human race has increased so much, the population has grown up and the land was not able to give you enough food. Then your urea was discovered, your agrochemicals were discovered, we had the Green Revolution because of the famine in West Bengal and Bengal. And then finally, of course, we look back and say, oh, we should have not used urea, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, we should have not used. So we do the mistake and then recollect. But that day it was very essential. Had we not used urea, we more and more people have died because of famine. We did not use pesticides and agrochemicals, maybe people would have died of hunger. So now, how can we bring back the culture of green technologies that we don't spoil the planet is what we need to learn from the food industry. So what we have done, either we have created hybrid varieties, and only last week, Indian Council of Agricultural Research has published a very strong, I don't know what the right word to use, an article which describes the wheat and the rice what we consume have no micronutrients. So we are eating grass and grass and grass without any macronutrients. We are supposed to have certain amount of silica, we are supposed to have certain boron, certain amount of micronutrients, which give you all the strength for your bone and muscle and all that. But over the last 50 years, the seed varieties we are using and the soil strength has weakened so much that the wheat and rice have no micronutrients. Rather, it has more dangerous elements like tin and lead and other chemicals. So now what is the cleaning process we have to do in such a way that our food industry gets better is something we all need to discuss. Similarly, we looked at the science of a chick in 1957 and we have understood the Mendeleev's genetics and we understood how to hybridize. And today the chick size has gone up from what size you see here, this size, and it may become elephant and elephant and elephant. Can you catch hold of a chick which is as big as a dinosaur and kill and eat? Or whether chick will kill and eat us? Whether your science you are creating a chick which is as powerful as a dinosaur. So where do you stop this science and where science and this will meet? We need to debate on the food. Now, what scientists have done? Okay, now that we can't kill the meat because the amount of greenhouse gases emitted by farming a buffalo or farming a sheep is much higher than cultivating a kilo of potato. So why can we make food which look like meat starting from vegetables? Now you get synthetic meat, which is not coming out of killing an animal or sacrificing an animal, but you can take the protein, cultivate in the culture lab, and then make it which food texture wise and taste wise as good as a meat with minimal greenhouse gas emissions. We all know if a cow or a buffalo or an ox or whatever animal eats grass, the amount of methane and greenhouse gases it emits is much higher than a plant which emits or plant which produces. So how can we convert a non-vegetarian, I'm sorry, I'm a vegetarian, to force him to eat meat, but a meat made of vegetables? So this is how you can save this planet amongst the four verticals we are talking. The roti, kapda, makan. So this is basically your roti. So can we make organic meats which are grown in the plant like a plant, but not sacrifice the animals, which produces more greenhouse gases. The culture of clothing, because kapda come from polymers and chemical industry, as I told you, nylon, and you all see how nylon is produced. And we also know how silk is produced by killing the silkworms. So this is the culture of clothing which happened over a period of time. And when you look back, there were no clothes human was wearing. You go back and see the first Homo sapien, I think he was not wearing clothes. There was no Raymond showroom to go and buy clothes. So naturally, he was not wearing. He didn't even know that one should wear the clothes. But at some point of time, one intelligent Homo sapien, when the weather was very rough, maybe very cold, and there must be some skin of some dead animal lying around, and he must have accidentally used it. He found that it is more warmer and more pleasant. And he told his friends, okay, now you go and kill a tiger or a buffalo and wear the skin and you feel warmer. I'm sure that's how the clothing has evolved. Otherwise, who told them to wear the clothes? So whether you want to kill an animal and make the leather and use as a cloth, or whether you want to go and use the petroleum industries, nylons or silkworms, and make synthetic cotton and make those things which are less burdensome to the planet. So can we make a decision that I am not going to use leather anymore? Because leather is more of causing more greenhouse gas emissions than an organic. So this is a story of how the fabrics developed and all that, so which you can always look at elsewhere. And I'm sure your ChatGPT and Copilot will tell you how the evolution of clothing has happened. Okay. So the response is very slow on the screen, so I have to wait for it. Sensor is here. Okay. Now, clothing has begun from certain zero to a certain leather to synthetic, and now we are seeing how the spacesuits are made, but how in future the clothing will look like. The future of clothing will be solar power, which also gives you power to your mobile phones, because your shirt has nice solar panels. You don't require to worry about charging of your mobile phone. You don't require electricity. You don't need government to give you subsidized power. And then maybe you'll have smart sensors and they also monitor your health, which we all know that today your Apple phone tells you what's your heartbeat and what's your blood sugar and all that. So as this science happens, both material science, clothing will go parallelly and you get the next generation clothing, which have to be more environmentally friendly than what my ancestors were. Clothing also to be as smart as all these areas. Someone tell me 15 minutes before. Yep. So I need 15 minutes to stop. So if you look at the smart housing, now today this room is powered by electricity, which is, we call it's a green light because we are using LED. But then how many of you know that someone is burning coal in Ramgundam coal mines and that coal was burned to get you power? Because India still depends on a lot of coal power. Hydraulic, which is reasonably greener compared to coal. Nuclear is very green, but we all protest whenever a nuclear plant comes close to us. So can we go and educate? Nuclear power is the most green power one could think of. So with all the precautions taken, I think we all should slowly migrate to nuclear power. Or can we go back and use hydrogen? It's the best fuel to get. And hydrogen comes from water splitting. Again, we know that chemists can go and do electrochemistry and split the water in hydrogen and oxygen, and you can get hydrogen. So how do we get a smart house? That house produces its own electricity by nature. You have dynamic windows. Then you open the window and close the window, it gives you power, for example. or your house is coated with so much of antibacterial paint that you never get any infections, or whatever carbon dioxide you breathe out will go into the wall, stick to it, and that will produce glucose. The carbon dioxide on polymerization will give you glucose. Now, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide can give you sugar. Now, whether you can have a reagent on the wall of your house that you breathe out carbon dioxide and you go and scratch sugar, that science will happen. Okay. So this is how you build your smart house so that you don't burden the planet. As I told you, your 3 generations have burdened the planet. Now we cannot further burden this planet. So I just show you this planet's photo. But remember, when this planet was made, it was called the white planet because it was white in color. It was full of snow. At some point of time, the environment became so pleasant, it became a blue planet. A lot of flora and fauna and Homo sapiens all started growing on this planet because the weather was very pleasant. It was not minus 100 degrees centigrade, but 25 degrees centigrade. And then the planet became blue from white. But today, because of the greenhouse gas emissions, we are getting red planet. So how can we take back the red planet to blue planet has to be the objective of all of us. So as I told you, science cannot be forced on someone. If I call my son and say, you become a scientist, he will laugh at me. I want to be a computer engineer. That was 20 years ago. But today's generation, if I go and ask, do you want to become a computer engineer? No, I don't want to become a computer engineer. I want to become a lawyer or a business graduate or an entrepreneur or a film actor. So the priorities of kids changes, but science is the only subject which cannot be forced on anyone. It has to be by passion and it cannot be driven by funding agencies or the universities. It's like you voluntarily joining into defense system or army. I want to go and die for the country. No one tells that Sardarji or a Haryanvi or a UP guy to go and join army. Andhra fellows, computer science, America, dollars, dowry, I don't know. Okay, so some of the states have a culture of sending their families into defense system. Some states have a culture of sending their kids into civil service. So it's a culture by which some states are divided into these kind of activities. But when science is a personal passion, you can't complain DST did not give me a grant, so I will not do science. You go back and look at how science began 500 years ago. There were no funding agencies. There were no universities, more or less. So science was a passion for Newton. Science was a passion for those people who, C.V. Raman, for example. So whether salary was given, not given, increment was given, not given, they did science. So science has to be driven by the internal passion that I want to change the way human being and this planet's life goes, and I want to change the planet. I think that only should drive all of this, and not a funding agency or a promotion or a job. We not talk too much on science. Okay. So now we come back to the story for today. We all are part of Andhra University currently, which is known globally for natural product science. And if you look back and see the photographs of various professors who retired from this university, and then you will see that they have worked in various plants. And of course, these three I just took as examples. These tulsi or tea or neem, these are the ones which have changed the way human being views actually. Okay. Just to give a connecting slide between the cow story and the real story, this is our connecting slide. So if you look at what is that natural products have done to all of us, and how we all as pharmacy students or chemistry graduate students are likely to use these natural product resources to make this planet healthy. Anyway, we are not material scientists that you want to make a smart house. We are not food scientists that we want to make the best food, but let us talk about how we make the best health. We want to live longer. We don't want to be burdened to other families, for example. So these are some of those very celebrated molecules which we picked up. The molecule could be as small as salicylic acid, which will give you paracetamol or ibuprofen or an aspirin kind of substance. You have statins, which are also not as large as placebo. But then look at rapamycin, which is pretty large. But I'll take you during my scientific work, which is the third part of my talk. molecules could be much larger, double, triple of this. And I also worked on the molecule cyclosporine, it's immunosuppressant, which helps for organ transplantation. And of course, penicillin, we talk on how penicillin discovery changed the way we live longer. Otherwise, all of us would have been died of throat infection, for example. But if penicillin was not there, maybe who knows, suddenly we die of throat infection. So these are the molecules which have changed the way we live on this planet today. So we want to be happy, we want to be healthy, we want to be comfortable. So these are the 3-4 parameters by which Homo sapiens live. And that's why we do science. Let us accept the fact. Scientists make Homo sapiens selfish. We all make things so that the Homo sapiens are very selfish. They want to live longer. They want to be better than other living beings on this planet. So science is that it drives all of us. But nature always fights with the scientist. Nature says, okay, you discover penicillin and kill X bacteria. I will give you genetic mutation. I will get some change in my sequence. Now penicillin will not work. Now again you challenge the nature. No, you go. I'll give you another antibiotic. I'll give you next antibiotic. So there is a fight always between the natural evolutionary process and the science brain, which we fight against it. That Homo sapiens live longer and happy and healthy and whatever. So, but despite all these facts, we need to accept that cardiovascular diseases, infections, cancer, viral infections including HIV and AIDS, neuropsychiatric disorders, and road accidents. All these things will keep killing us, whatever we do. All these things will start killing us. Whatever you fight, you discover one antibiotic, new virus will come, for example. We never thought COVID will come. Now you complain China made the lab. We have proof. If it was a man-made virus, whether a vaccine will work. So we need to go back and see whether it's really man-made or an accidental environmental process. Okay. So even if those diseases don't kill us, we are smart enough to create world wars and kill each other. I mean, it's a tradition. We want to kill each other. Okay. Bacteria kills us. Okay, bacteria, we kill bacteria. Another country will come and kill you, you kill that country. So this is revolutionary. So this is the World War I. 1914 to 18, we fought this World War. India was also a part of this because we were under the British colony. And it says that about 7 million people died. 7 million, about 70 lakh people died. At that time, there was no hydrogen bomb and there were no nuclear bombs in principle. But despite that, they were smart enough to kill 7 million people. Now, go to Second World War. After exactly one generation, 1910 to 1940, about 30 years approximately. So second generation war, basically. So that's Second World War. And we had the explosions and all that. We killed about 60 million. I told 7 million there, now about 60, 70 million. So within 30 years, we became smart enough to kill 10 times more people. You imagine after this World War, no World War happened. So you add now 100 years. Every 30 years, you can multiply by 10. Now 100 years passed. So at 1940s, that 1970. 1970, you add one more zero, 600 million. Then another 32,000, 6,000 million. Then another 30, 20, 25. No, whole planet will disappear. So there are only 7 billion people. We already counted 6 billion. So if today World War happens, in principle, all 7 billion people can die. Who was responsible? A scientist. We made all those great weapons. They accept that. Why? I thought scientists are good people. Scientists make this planet the best. I think we should be proud that we are scientists. While we talk of the negativities of some of those developments, which were used against the human well-being. But same nuclear explosion can give you nuclear power. So why should we say that nuclear power discovery guy is a bad guy? He discovered for the well-being of the planet, but someone misused it. Similarly, someone discovered hydrogen as a fuel, and now you made hydrogen bomb. Or someone discovered uranium to give radioactivity and dark, and someone takes uranium and put outside and say that radioactivity spreads over. So it's the human who makes science villain. Science is the hero. Yeah, let us accept science is the hero. Sorry. This is a very old slide. I didn't want to use it, but yesterday evening I remembered I'm in Andhra Pradesh, so I should use it. This was a slide I used 20 years ago. This movie came 20 years ago, whatever time. So tuberculosis is one disease we all study, mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this disease is a resident in all of us. I think as pharmacy students, I'm the last person to educate you. We all who take BCG vaccine during childhood or when you're exposed, I think 40, 50, 60% of Indian population have mycobacterium happily residing in you in a very nascent stage. And if you irritate that fellow, you get it. How do you irritate it? You reduce your immunity. The only way you can irritate any other person is by reducing your own immunity. How do you reduce your immunity? By eating samosa. That's why I didn't take it. So now if your immunity comes down, automatically this tuberculosis will attack us. What is the tuberculosis? It is a non-motile rod-shaped bacterium. I'm sure all of you can see the bacterium in a microscope. It is at 0.2 to 0.5 microns in base 2. And this resides in something like so many things, and maybe many more people. All the African continent, Indian continent, many Asian people have this bacterium related. And he is a harmless bull, 36 feet, not 4 hands. So nice person. Okay? So, so these are some of the role models who branded tuberculosis, how to mitigate it, and some donations they've done. So this is all the history. You don't want to keep further. But these are the 4 drugs which are given to a tuberculosis patient: isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazinamide, and interleukin. So this combination for 6 to 9 months, sometimes 12 months. Imagine someone on antibiotic for 12 months, what kind of one encounters. But then this is the regime we have. And no new discovery happened in this for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 decades. Okay? But there's one molecule discovered by Johnson and Johnson, a colleague of mine who worked in Johnson at some point in time. One molecule called bedaquiline. So what we have done is this bedaquiline we thought is clinical trials, and first time after 50 years a new molecule is in clinical trial. Why not we make it? Whether it gets approval in the regulatory or not, I didn't know. I told my student, now we make it and keep it ready for India. If it's accepted, well and good. It fails, you publish a paper and you get your PhD anyway. Universities are very generous, a PhD they give. So we made bedaquiline. So how we made? This is the retrosynthesis, again only for chemists. A lot of chemists that will come. So those are non-chemists can just chit chat with your friends. So this is a typical retrosynthesis. E.J. Corey taught us. You take a molecule, where you want to break it, you break, and then you reconnect. That's how the whole retrosynthesis happens when you make the molecule. So we started from a very easily available phenylene skeleton and were able to make bedaquiline in reasonably good quantities and good purity, and we published something. It was a cover page in European Journal of Organic Chemistry. And incidentally, this paper, we at the acknowledgement, many times you write, this work is funded by Department of Science and Technology or ICMR, and we thank and all that. But we wrote that this paper is not filed for a patent anywhere, and anyone who wants to use it can use it without paying royalty. So we wanted to see that someone will take this commercial process and use it. Unfortunately, India did not get the approval for bedaquiline till 2021-22. So now there's an approval. But fortunately, thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Modi and the call he gave, that we make India tuberculosis Mukt Bharat by 2025. So a lot of efforts have gone in, and fortunately, this consumption is very low in our country as on today. It's a good sign, and we do believe that by 2030, we have very less patients, and we don't have multi-drug resistant tuberculosis patients, and hopefully we will not need this drug. We'll skip the chemistry part, as I told you, not to bore you. So infections can come, but we can make some drugs and cure, is the message what I want to convey. Next is cancer. Put 14% people, identity put 25% actually. This is old slide about 7 years, maybe in 2012 report. So this number has gone up very high now, about 24-25%. Now, where do you get drugs for cancer? Marine sources are the best sources for cancer drugs. If you go back and look at some of the drugs, they're all marine sources. So I've shown you how the marine algae and fungi and bacteria. And this slide is again an inspiration, motivation to all of us that this campus has pioneered the marine research. The amount of marine national products isolated by Andhra University is best in the world, not best in the country, the best in the world. So where is that art gone now? Where is that art gone now? If I walk in the campus, can I find a marine national product chemist? Is someone going to sponge or coral and getting? Who can, Professor Venkata Endowment lecture, motivate some of us that we go jump in the sea, those who know swimming up, others don't jump. And get some sponges and corals and extract some chemicals and see whether they can show some anti-cancer problems. So these are some of the marine drugs which I don't want to give. A company by name PharmaMar actually. Marine drugs coming out of that PharmaMar has made many molecules which are in the market for cancer treatment. Okay. And this, you should remember, this is the molecule, Rameshwaralite, isolated by a faculty from this university in partnership with IICT colleague and Faulkner in Florida University. And they named Rameshwaralite because near Rameshwaram coast, they isolated this. And this molecule had shown excellent clinical properties, but because it was not pushed so hard by the industry, it did not become a drug. But this is something so complex structure. Someone who isolated from this part of the world was able to use structure, including stereochemistry, and then was taken forward into clinical trials. So we need to work again, revisit the marine sources and see whether we can get some treasure out of them. Then I go back to the story which I worked on. This is one of the most complex natural products isolated from the marine sources. And this molecule is a tubulin targeting agent and of course works for multiple cancers. Can you believe that if you take 100 kgs of sponge, you get 1 milligram of this? Now, how can you treat a patient even it's a drug? The source is only made in the lab. Okay? So fortunately, a company in the US in partnership with Japan were able to take this molecule, make a small fragment, only half of this molecule, and they put an amino group here, which they call it azatric. We all know that nitrogen containing molecules are more likely to become drugs. So a simple azatric, half of the molecule showed as good as alichondrin, which is more easier to make. More difficult to make this molecule, but easy to make that one. So that molecule was made, and then of course a lot of activity was isolated. And if you look at it, the average wholesale price of eribulin is $1,000 for a 1 milligram dose. Who can afford? Even if the molecule is sold in India, whether it's available in India now. So who can afford to buy this? So can we start making as organic chemists cheaper versions? Can we make cheaper? While we did not make cheaper, but we produce multiple PhDs. Okay. They are very expensive PhDs actually. We spend so many chemicals in the lab. So we made this molecule. Again, I'll not bore you with all that chemistry, how we have done it. So this is the whole team. And we made the molecule with 3 colors. Okay, violet color, red color, and the blue color. So there were teams who worked on each color, and then they were able to make this molecule in the lab. If you go to sponges and corals, get 100 kgs and extract 1 milligram, it will take lifetime to survive. But we in the lab in about 7 years. And these people were sacrificed. Okay. Now this is the molecule and how we made and we published all that is there. I mean, those who want, they can get this. And I also understand that this is getting recorded and it will be on the website somewhere. You can get it. So this is how we started from D-mannose for C1 to C13, then C27 to 35, and you can see we made 400 milligrams of fine intermediate, and then we coupled and made the final compound. So this final compound was given to Cipla. We made about 40 milligrams. That means about 400 kilos of sponge we saved. we save the ocean. And then, of course, they take forward and now they are developing to make it more affordable. But unfortunately, now this eribulin come from two industrial companies at a price which is much cheaper than the by the route we developed. So now industry doesn't want to use this practice, but at least we know that they attempted to do this. Now, we could not make a marine drug affordable, but someone made, so fortunately, some scientists made, by the way. Let us give credit to some scientists who made it and today it's available. But imagine there are some biologics which are coming up in the market now, and this dose cost is $2.1 million per person. It's called Zolgensma Novartis, one-time treatment, spinal muscular atrophy caused by a defective gene, which is good. Babies with severe form do not survive, see their second birthday. Imagine the pathetic situation of the mother or the family. But then whether they know that is available, but can they go and pay 25 crores? Why not? So can our biotechnologists or RNA scientists or DNA scientists, how can you make it affordable to Indian? Is a challenge to all of us. This slide I'm showing only show you how expensive a drug can be. We all go to pharmacy and look at 100 rupees one antibiotic. Oh, it's expensive. But imagine the cost of a treatment for one patient. So we go to the story of vaccines, which made us live longer. And how vaccine was discovered is this slide here. What is alerting me? So, how the vaccines were discovered, this is the message I want to convey to you. Vaccine is a word which is an Italian word, don't worry about it. It was developed by Jenner after observation that people had cowpox did not catch smallpox. Again, we studied this in the textbook, but we never got the message. How come a shepherd, someone who is doing this cow farming, was observing so closely that someone working close to the cows which are suffering cowpox is not getting the disease? So he imagined that, okay, if you expose yourself to this disease, you will not get the disease. And if you know in the US, not in India unfortunately, but if any family, any small kid gets the chicken pox, what they do? Neighbors will bring their kid and put in their house so that the boy gets little exposure and then they will not get the disease. But if someone gets something, oh, we don't want to take our kids to their house. If you get flu, you wear a mask. So can be minimal exposure will give you the immunity and resistance. It will produce antibodies for you and then you get protection. So what is the level of exposure is what is the vaccine? Vaccine is nothing but you inject a viral load into you, which is just sufficient to create antibodies, not sufficient to create the disease. Right? That's the simple difference between a vaccine and an infection. So what we have done, we made the vaccine, the help of Bharat Biotech, IICT and Bharat Biotech, and our Prime Minister has taken the vaccine. So we are proud that the chemical made in IICT by our group, which we call it the aluminum hydroxide plus the imidazopyridine, 15 micrograms, was made in the lab and put into the bottle of the virus, which gives you the adjuvant effect. And that made the Covaxin the most sought after vaccine developed by India. And this chemical was only made by students like all of you. It was not made by a factory. Bharat Biotech grew the vaccine in the lab, but my PhD students were all like you, boys and girls. During the COVID time, they never went home, and we made close to 10 kilos, I don't remember exactly, of the adjuvant that we supplied to Bharat Biotech under the regulatory norms that was added into the vaccine and it was given to 20 crore people. So even students can make a drug. You don't require a pharma company, is the message from this slide. Okay? And the Prime Minister has that 10 milligram, 10 microgram in his body. So another two drugs which we developed during COVID, Savipiravir. You can see a drug made by Cipla. You can see IOCT logo on this. And we made Remdesivir, which was an injection. We all paid black money to buy the injection to save our families. And this is the last part, another 5 minutes. Rapamycin is a molecule which I love to show to the young students, which we call Amrit, which showed the anti effect, and when it was injected into mice, mice lived for about 30% more time. That means if you are 100 years to live, take 30% of 100 and 30. If you take rapamycin, in principle, if it gets a drug, we all live for 130. Okay. So, but this has its own story, which I will not bore you. All the story is written in some form, you can read it. This is the story. It was a chemical in a factory, and that company became bankrupt. They were about to throw garbage, but one Indian scientist, Surya Sehgal, instead of destroying the sample, he stole the sample. Stealing is not recommended, but he stole the sample and went to other company and developed that instead of throwing that in the garbage, because he had the confidence that this will become a blockbuster. Now we talk of the anti-aging and why we should live for 120 years. Why we struggle so much of science, pharmacy department, the government funds all of you, that we all want to live longer and healthy and happy. So if you want to live for 120 years, rapamycin, of course, there. You can now take antibiotics, you can take anti-cancer drugs, you can take tuberculosis, whatever disease, cholesterol drugs, everything, and then you can keep this what you call defeat the disease and live for longer. That's how the average age expectancy today, India grew from about 40, 35 to 70 now. Okay. Europe is about 80 to 90, Japan is about 92. So we are slowly living longer. So I'm sure 120 is not too far. In 100 years, we have gone from 30 to 90. In another year, we may go from 90 to 120. So this is a mathematical graph you can draw. Then how do you live that? By developing the organs. So that's how now you get the new science which is happening. You can grow the organs in the lab. We all studied organ on chip. So now I am proposing, or you, I'm too small to propose. Some scientists propose, okay? Can the stem cells research what being around the world can become a vending machine, like you go to cinema halls or I'm sure in your cafeteria, you put 100 rupees or 20 rupees and take a chips packet out or a Coca-Cola, whatever, to reduce your age expectancy. That's what Coca-Cola and all will do, that you kill us no faster. So can you go to a 3D printing or some vending machine and give an order that, okay, I stored my umbilical cord stem cell in your bank when I was born, my parents have deposited. Now after 2 weeks, I'll come back, make a heart, my heart's troubling, I don't want to go for a bypass. Rather, I throw out and put a new heart and go. Will happen, most probably, because we never imagined what is happening today, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, no one imagined. 1992, when I used my first email, I was in US between 91 and 94. So Hotmail was the first mail. So my professor told me that you open email account. I said, what is an email account? Then that he wrote, also I don't know what is that. So then very limited people had that Hotmail account and very few computers, no internet speed. Nothing was there by the way. So exactly 15 years, I think, by 2005, 2010. I'm talking 91. By 2001, 2005, we had the Y2K problem and we solved the problem. And then already the Gmail and the mail system has come. And no one imagined that Google search will come, that you put something and you get the answer. Now, exactly after Google search in less than a decade, now you have Copilot, ChatGPT, you have so many. I mean, they are much better than all of us, by the way. You can ask them to write poetry, ask them to do a painting. You can make a Bahubali without Taj Mahal. Very easy. So now, this is also not too far. When science in computers can happen like that, I'm sure pharmacy science students and scientists are more smarter than computer scientists. I think, na? I don't know. Okay. This sort of good. Okay. So when can we expect this? That you go and order a heart or a lung or a liver tomorrow? Good. So we can order from you. Yeah. So this is the way science will evolve, and this is how we need to imagine how the world will look like after 30 years, after 50 years, after 100 years. We're all in 20s or below 20s and slightly around 20s. And if you have to live on this planet for another 8 decades, at least, because I'm hoping I live for 90 or 100. So you should live for 110, 120. So another 9 decades, what will you do and how the world will look like? Whether you will go back to the bullock carts or will you go to rockets or will you go to the drones? Or you will be cloned that you are 4 or 5 people, you can sit in the classroom here, you can be also in cinema hall with your friend. So what will happen after 30 years? No one knows. But are we prepared for that? Or are we able to imagine that science will take us there and we should behave like this? Today we did not, 20 years ago, we did not know what AI will do. So today we are worried now AI will be unethical. Because our mind is not accepting it. So we look at AI as unethical tool. If you go and tell your professor that I used AI to give the answer, he will fail you. It means he's an old generation professor. You think it's ethical. When I was young, calculator was unethical. Can you believe? If I take calculator to mathematics teacher, she will scold me and slap me and hit me. And then slowly Casio calculator came, which will use sin theta, cos theta a little bit. And with a lot of effort, clocks table was allowed into the examination hall, which you don't even know what the clocks table. Anyone have heard of clock table? No. Exactly 4 decades ago, it was officially a tool for our mathematics. So, world will change. 20 years is too long a time. We are talking of Moore's law. Have you heard of Moore's law? Every 5 years, 3 years, the technology goes double, the price comes half, availability increases by tenfold. And today, Apple phone does everything what you want. Siri is now obsolete, by the way. Siri, poor fellow, was born 5 years ago and became obsolete already. So no one uses Siri now. So it becomes obsolete. So similarly, science grows so fast that many things what we talk about will become obsolete, and we should be mentally prepared to grasp all that. Okay? And these are all inspirations why I made this presentation to all of you. With the anticipation that the science, the pharmaceutical science, will make us live longer, and many universities in the US especially are now starting anti-aging departments, which were never heard of. Department of anti-aging. Can Andhra University imagine that department, or Usmania, where I come from, or any Indian university or an IIT? So that's how people think beyond what is happening around us. Okay? Yeah. This is carbon footprint. I'll not bore you. All this in the whole story. I just want to give you a take-home message. Is one, the science we should, whatever we do, science, whatever we do in the lab, should not produce carbon dioxide. One decision. It should not produce greenhouse gases. Decision made. And the material balance, if I'm converting A to B, A if it is 1 kilo, B has to be 1 kilo. It cannot be B my required product, but C, D, E or impurities and byproducts which I throw. That means my chemical equation A to B, arrow 100% to 100%. On the arrow, no reagents, no solvents, no catalysts. That is the kind of chemistry I want to imagine. And that's the kind of drugs we want to make, that without any atom loss, without producing any greenhouse gases, making this planet uncomfortable. We make human beings' life more better, more comfortable, more happier. That's the objective of a scientist. Scientists should not be seen by community as a villain. Scientists should be seen as a hero. We all look at Professor G.N.R. Rao, Professor Abdul Kalam. They're all our heroes. So how we can become heroes and celebrities, and we are more celebrated and we are more respected by this community than anyone else. Today, if some company comes to start a chemical industry, first thing is they do a road sweeping, they call it some public hearing, and all the common man, all the people think, oh, chemical industry is coming close to my house, they create pollution, let us do dharna to close it. So we are not grown enough that science has gone beyond, and pollution is the last thing any industry would like to do. Because they will bring in the new practices, the catalytic technologies. So I think we need to evolve ourselves with time going on. And my only message to all of you is respect chemistry, respect health, respect the planet. While my title says planet and human well-being, it's not just human well-being. So far, we have been practicing human well-being. So let us bring in very small thing we do. Yes, as a human being, my well-being is taken care, but I also want to make sure that the planet's well-being is also taken care, including the tiger. Okay. Thank you all, and thank you for your. So stop here and again thank you.
Now the session is over for discussion. I request all of you to
I can
raise your concerns. Ask questions.
Did you present any chemistry presentation?
Sir, regarding the
Sorry.
talking about anti-aging department, right? You say good, there is only one. You don't need to create one. We had it, try to do it. So yoga and Ayurveda. I've been to the US Army for 7 years. It's a network created in the Army. We use it in 1960. Worldwide.
But as common man, we got in 91.
Convenience, things are very convenient. Vedic knowledge. Nobody talks it. Vedic heritage. Unbelievable. We had created a lot of things before anybody knew. When America became great, a lot of people think America is the most advanced country in the world, right? So one of us tried to come to India, accidentally discovered America. Until that time, nobody knew America didn't exist. So thanks to India, America exists. And our Vedic knowledge unbelievable. Right, we can do those things. We have answers to everything. Ayurveda, your end. Thank you.
We cannot debate on that separately.
Okay, sir. How to conclude, on behalf of the organizing committee, Andhra University College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, it's my proud privilege to offer a vote of thanks. First of all, I thank Dr. Chandrasekhar Garu for accepting our invitation to come over here and sharing his decades of knowledge as a scientist, as an administrator, as the person who has seen the world too much, understood so many things, for providing us with so many glimpses and ideas and questions and igniting not one but many brains over here. All the youngsters are now they'll have they'll have a target to pursue. I also thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor for presiding over this function. I thank the family members and friends of Professor.E.Venkata garu for coming over here and gracing this occasion. I thank my teachers, Professor D. Venkata garu, Professor Vairanga garu, other colleagues from other departments, my colleagues, and research scholars, PG students, and other invitees from the other departments for coming over here and making this session a grand success. I thank all of you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.